I want to say something else. I've collected plants in the tropics for a long time. I haven't done so in 10 years, but, you know, you can learn certain things about climate and climate change by collecting plants, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know, botanists can also contribute to this study, and believe me, the little I know about this from a scientific point of view, and as a man who is a boater, and you say, well, what does boating have to do with this? It has a lot to do with it. I have tide tables going back a very long period of time. I haven't seen 1 centimeter rise in any of the tides in San Francisco Bay over 20 years. Wouldn't you expect there'd be some rise if we had melting glaciers?
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that data. Let me tell you something else as a botanist that you'd like to know. Did you know for several thousand years after the end of the last ice age, the North Woods, the boreal forest, extended all the way to the Arctic Ocean in Eurasia? Now it's treeless tundra because it's colder. In other words, it was warmer for thousands of years in the summer. Did the polar bear die? No. Did the Inuit culture go away? No, it radiated. Excuse me. We've been through this before and more. And
so in other words, even if there's a slight warming, so what is what you're saying?
Live. And this is what's not being allowed in the literature. It's not, by the way, you know, it's not that you can say, you know, there's no such thing as global warming, and you get kicked out of the literature. Now, if you say, yes, the planet's warmer than it was, and human beings might have something to do with it, but it's not that big a deal, and here's why, and here are the statistics, that's what they're trying to keep out of the literature. Because they complained in these emails bitterly about a paper that I had gotten published that showed it was warming and said people had something to do with it. It just said it wasn't the end of the world.
Yes. So the anthropogenic element, meaning man-induced, blah, 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 is the big deal, number one. And number two, so what if it's warming slightly? It's actually good for mankind because there'll be more plant life and more food. Isn't that true?
If you take a look at satellite imagery of the planet, you can see that the planet is greener than it was. It is getting greener, not browner.
So that's good.
You would think so.
And you know what really has always struck me as humorous, and you know, I've used a simple analogy. How many ice ages have there been through geological history? Is it 7 that we know of?
A lot.
A lot. But every ice age that has occurred has then receded, and that is prior to the advent of the internal combustion engine or even coal-fired plants. So how could the ice have receded prior to the advent of these, whether it's industrialization or the internal combustion engine? What would have caused the ice to recede if it was not mankind? Wouldn't it have been some natural phenomena?
That is correct. And, you know, it's pretty easy in your mind to get the Earth into an ice age by making it whiter and have it reflect away more radiation with all the snow and ice. But it's real hard to get the Earth out of one in your mind. And the fact that there are such internal dynamics in the climate system means there's a lot of powerful natural variability.
Well, the bottom line for the average listener is that there's an awful lot to be discussed about global warming that is not being discussed. In fact, it's being repressed. That's why it's being called climate fraud or climate gate. And one of the leading climate skeptics, a real scientist and a real climatologist, is Patrick J. Michaels. His book is Climate of Extremes, which I hope you'll go and buy, folks. And also, where can we see your editorial, the op-ed, the Doorgate Global Warming? Where was that published, Professor?
Review online. It's also on the Cato homepage, www.cato.org.
Well, I wish you good luck, and I do suggest that you get some climate bodyguards to go to the next conference with.
That part.
Thanks, and good luck. Thanks for being with us on the Savage Nation. That was great. That was really what makes radio wonderful. It's 49 minutes after the hour. I'll be right back.
Savage.